as we speak.
YouTube, what is up? Oh, little preview. Little preview. Oh, yeah, look at these 80s classics right here. Look at this. Getting the chat open for y'all. It's catchy. One more minute.
Okay, all my shares are out. It is 9 o'clock. We got Mr. Caldwell in the house.
Is Tom visiting? There we go. You need to get Tom back on. We need some Canadian wisdom. What's going on, Nathaniel? Good to see you.
And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It is time for Culture Clash Live. Our first one of the new year, Mr. Wright. Because technically our last one was New Year's Eve.
True. Do we get any? Are we doing any Culture Clash themies in the beginning, or are we leading up to that?
I just wanted to at least say hello to you. I didn't want to be rude. Come on now, but
our first one of the new year. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So, well, if you're that anxious, there's only one thing I can do. Let's do this thing.
Let's do it.
Let's news.
And we're gonna have you.
Oh, what?
This is the Culture Clash.
Welcome to Culture Clash 191, the first episode of 2021. Mr. Kevin Reitzel, I gotta agree with Nathaniel out in the chat. Your hair's a little more spiky than normal.
It is. It's getting longer. I have COVID hair, which means I'm letting it grow. The place that I go get stuff cut is closed because of COVID. I have someone I could call to come to the house, but I like the other person a little bit more. So I'm just kind of going with it until I can't handle it anymore.
Well, I have one very important question for you because I actually got my hair cut right before we did this show, about 2 hours beforehand. But I got to ask you, Kevin, is that by chance something about Mary hair product?
What hair product?
Something about Mary?
No. No, sir. I just got a leave-in conditioner that's kind of keeps it up a little bit. So there you go. Yeah.
Well, we are here for Culture Clash 191. We got something very fun planned, I think. We got a new segment we're debuting in the new year. I'm very excited about that. We got a ton of news. Kevin's just happy because it has something to do with physical media.
Yeah, baby.
So, which reminds me, little side note before we get started, Kevin. I went into my local Best Buy about 3 days ago. I had to actually pick up some equipment for work. Mm-hmm. It was a sad state of affairs.
The two Best Buys that I've been in around in my area are looking pretty sad.
They had no physical media at all.
Ours did, but they were you can tell they're not like really restocking like too much. There's a few new things, like you know how they have that display of new DVD Blu-rays or whatever. They still have that going, but you know they're not stocking what they normally do in the past.
Yeah. Now, Kevin, one of the other things we've been talking about a lot recently is 3D TV.
Yes.
Well, as I've told you, I still have my Vizio 3D TV.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went out when I had a little bit of time one night this week because I just needed to get a mental break from work. And I hit a couple places, and I found a stack of 3D Blu-rays.
Someone spent their stimulus check.
Well, luckily they were on the cheap side, but I wanted to
show me what you got.
We've got Andrew Garfield, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 3D.
Okay.
It was part of a pack because we got The Amazing Spider-Man in 3D.
Okay. You're not
good
impressing
effects.
Me.
Good 3D effects.
Okay. Impress me. Come on. What else you got?
We got Thor 3D
Okay, that's
edition.
good. That's good. Like that. Mm-hmm.
We've got Pacific Rim 3D edition.
Good. Nathaniel says 3D TV still exists. I'm going to get one when they go cheaper because I want one just to say that I have one because I've got a few. A few movies that came with like the Blu-ray and the 3D Blu-ray, you know.
We have Live, Die, Repeat, otherwise known as The Edge of Tomorrow in 3D.
Yes. Is it Live, Die, Repeat or is it the other one? I don't know.
Either way works.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We have Suicide Squad 3D.
Okay, good. I like that movie. Be quiet, people.
Martha, we got Batman vs. Superman 3D.
Good. By the way, Jennifer's in there. She says Best Buys are still in existence. Yes, they are. Barely. I think you go there to get like washing machines now.
Yeah. We have Mad Max Fury Road 3D.
Ooh, nice one. Me likey.
And finally, we have Warcraft 3D.
Okay, I actually enjoyed that in 3D in the theaters. So yeah, it's going to be kind of one of those hard to find things afterward because they're not doing 3D movies anymore. So it's going to be an interesting little niche.
Yeah. No, but I will say this, the Pacific Rim 3D, pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely. Agreed.
So, well, we've got that. I just had to get my 3D in. I've done many a Kevin, Goodwill trip to 3D to the Laserdisc land. So,
I'm sorry, what?
I've gone through many a Kevin Laserdisc trip from Goodwill.
You've seen Laserdiscs at Goodwill?
No, I'm talking about you when you go to thrift stores and Goodwills and things like that.
Right.
And you come back with your Laserdisc.
Right.
Loot.
Okay.
So I figured it was my turn to have some loot.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, by the way, Tom says, I asked him for some Canadian advice, and he says, don't go outside when there's 100-mile-per-hour wind. So just
being in Florida where we have hurricanes, I can highly recommend he's correct. So
yeah, I want to own a 3D TV. I just want to have it. I want to find the glasses, hopefully cheap somewhere, just so I have it and experience it a few times and then never use it again.
No, there you go. So physical media, the way of the past, as we shall discuss later on. So But let's get things started here, and it starts with our contact info and where you can find not only Culture Clash, but all the shows on the Fandom Podcast Network umbrella. And it, of course, starts at our homepage at fpnet.podbean.com, where you can find our master feed and wombats, apparently. You can also download the Podbean app and search for the Fandom Podcast Network and subscribe that way. Of course, we're also on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the major podcast catchers out there. Also on Facebook, Fandom Podcast Network. We try to keep you updated with what's going on in the latest in fandom news and whatever else is going on that might be interesting. Of course, Kevin's video just cut out. So
I did it for a reason, because I'm putting something on for you guys.
I have no knowledge of this. Viewers, listeners, I apologize in advance. Sometimes I just can't control him. It's a little scary. Like that. That's a little scary. Real quick, Nathaniel just asked if I was concerned about the Browns. Kevin? I'm a little concerned about the running game, but not much. Not much.
I'm wearing my Zoolander hair and bandana.
Yeah. Okay, so Mr. Zoolander over here. Of course, you can follow the Fandom Podcast Network on Instagram, Fandom Podcast Network, or on Twitter at FanPod Network. You can follow me, Kyle, on Twitter at AKyleW, on Instagram at AKyleFandom. Mr. Zoolander, where can we find you on social media?
Hot_blue steel.
Kevin, I think we either need to get you out of lockdown or we need to get Aaron here soon, because I'm getting worried about you.
Spartan_Phoenix on Twitter and Instagram.
Okay. And I made that comment. It made me think about a certain Facebook post that's been floating around from you and Aaron the last few days. We are a family show. We will not get into that detail here, but let's just say,
are we really? I don't know.
Oh, the year's off to such a wonderful start. Obviously, if you're watching here, you know about the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel. Subscribe, like. If you subscribe, you get notified when we go live. After this episode, you might never want to see us live again, but hey.
Hey, Carl's in the Carl Nordstrom. He's sad that the Patriots aren't in the postseason.
I don't want to hear anything about the Patriots and missing the playoffs after the run you guys have had. So that's a whole other thing. TeePublic. In fact, I got this spiffy Galvatron shirt from the Transformers '86 film.
Nice.
Classic scene of him from our friends over at TeePublic. And of course, you can visit the Fandom Podcast Network TeePublic store and get great things like the pillow behind me back here. Very, very sharp, very comfortable, I might add.
Very cool, very cool.
Great shirts, some hoodies. There's always all kinds of sales going on. I know they've got a couple of sales coming up here in the month of January. Get some good deals there. Go to tpublic.com, search for the Fandom Podcast Network, or type in the name of any of your favorite podcasts here on the Fandom Podcast Network. And finally, we love reviews, especially on iTunes/Apple Podcasts. We love those 5-star reviews, of course, but at this point we'll be happy if we get a 1-star with that hairdo, but you know what? We love the feedback in general because, as always, we're striving.
Yeah, if you're gonna give a 1-star, at least tell us why.
I try to work with professionals. It's just not gonna happen. My New Year's resolution just went completely out the door already. So, Kevin, we need to get it started here. Do you feel it? Do you feel it, Zoolander?
Let's news.
Help me, Obi-Wan. You're my only hope.
Let's news.
By the way, for all the listeners out there, and the viewers, this is a very special podcast live YouTube show for me with Culture Clash. This will be the last on my original first ever bought MacBook, because my new MacBook came in and I'm upgrading this weekend. So emotional tear for me.
Yeah, I love the MacBook Pro. Yeah.
So, but let's get into the news.
Mine's I think 2 years old. It's still chugging along. So
yeah, you got a good 7 years left out of yours if you treat it right. Let's get into the news because we had some big news break yesterday. In fact, Kevin, Chris Evans.
He's
not
handsome.
he's not grabbing a skateboard again, which I know you and Norman are really hoping for.
Oh, is he doing Push Part 2? Is that what he's doing?
No, though actually I would be interested in that.
Yeah, me too. Underrated film, Push.
Film.
Check it out.
No, but he might be shield slinging again. It looks like he's reached some kind of agreement to do at least one more appearance as Captain America for the MCU. Now,
Where would you like to see him appear again? Whose movie would you like to see him in? Another Captain America standalone? Where do you want to see, and how do you want him to return?
well, as far as how I want him to return, I know the MCU is getting ready to go into the land of the multiverse, but that is not how I want to see Captain America return. I don't want to see a different universe's version of Captain America. Marvel has done so many stories over the years with Captain America being aged up to his proper time, then de-aging because of the super soldier serum and other things. There's a story there with like they could use the super soldier serum to make him back to the age he was before he made his time jump in Avengers Endgame.
Right. Yeah, they'll do something comic booky. And by the way, Jennifer says that if I'm going to insist on wearing this thing on my head, she wants to make sure that the carpet matches the drapes.
Jen, no, just don't encourage him. But Kevin, let's be honest here. We all know what we're most excited about is the return of America's ass.
This is true. We do want to see America's ass back, but they're going to get clever. I would like to see maybe like a teaser, a stinger at the end, and then somehow he comes back or does something. That'd be kind of cool. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think maybe we get him in the next Avengers film, or maybe something. But it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. But Kevin Feige wasn't done with Marvel news. Oh no, the one we've been waiting for. The one everybody's like, yeah, that's never really gonna happen. They're just gonna tease us all along. But Kevin Feige has made it official. Deadpool 3 will be happening. It will be part of the MCU, and it will be Deadpool rated R.
I think what would be important here is also we got him in a cameo in someone else's film. I think that would be really cool. I don't know and then he gets his own film into the MCU maybe, or if will he do his film and then fall into the MCU? What do you think?
I have an answer. I have an answer for this.
All right, what you got?
In 2022, we have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness coming out. So, what more appropriate stinger than at the end of the Multitude of Madness, Deadpool pops out of some portal into the MCU universe?
Yeah, I guess. I think it would be fun though too if he partnered up with someone that is already established. And I don't know why, but it'd be really entertaining if he somehow popped into the next Spider-Man film.
Oh, Deadpool Spider-Man is a classic comic book combination.
But I think it would be really fun. I think it would be really fun though to have this particular Spider-Man deal with this type of mercenary version, or this version of Deadpool, especially if he's very potty mouth, and then Tom Holland's Spider-Man says something about that. That'd be really funny.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of possibilities out there. Real quick too, it just came up in the chat. Carl brought it up. Interesting development over at Disney. Since we're talking about Disney properties, they have canceled the annual pass program at Disneyland, Kevin.
Why?
I think because of COVID. I think they don't feel
why. Why? COVID. What is COVID doing other than less people showing up? I don't understand. There's more to it.
And the fact that Disneyland isn't even opened yet since COVID hit.
Well, what does that have to do with pass holders? Pass holders get perks and whatever.
I think they said they're trying to work on some kind of alternate plan, but they have canceled the annual pass holder program for now at Disneyland.
So that means that it forces people that come visit have to pay each time they come in, basically, so they can get that revenue right up front.
Unless they're probably Vacation Club.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
So, but it's an interesting thing. I know here in Florida, they're getting ready. They've cut the Magic Hours program, and they've getting ready to do another cut of hours open in the park. So lots of things going on there. But Kevin, something we've been talking about for what feels like forever. It's been forever since this show was announced. is Amazon's Lord of the Rings.
Right.
It feels like, what, since we maybe first started podcasting?
Yeah, it's been in production for a while. They spent like $1 billion, something crazy like that, for the rights and the licensing and stuff. There's been a lot of speculation on when this is going to take place, and now we've got some confirmation. And part of me's a little disappointed because I was kind of hoping something, maybe a young Aragorn type thing going on, but that's not the case.
Yeah, no. Let me read from the article from OneRing.net. Amazon Studios' forthcoming series brings to screens for the very first time the heroic legends of the fabled Second Age of Middle-earth's history. This epic drama is set thousands of years before the events of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and will take viewers back to an era in which great powers were forged. Kingdoms rose to glory and fell to ruin. Unlikely heroes were tested, hope hung by the finest of threads, and the greatest of villains that ever flowed from Tolkien's pen threatened to cover all the world in darkness. Beginning in a time of relative peace, the series follows an ensemble cast of characters, both familiar and new, as they confront the long-feared reemergence of evil to Middle-earth. From the darkest depths of the Misty Mountains to the majestic forests of the elf capital of Lindon, to the breathtaking island kingdom of Nurmorn. I'm sorry, I know I just butchered that completely.
So hold on. So basically, what we're getting is the birth of the of Sauron, pretty much. Right.
It sounds like, yeah.
So we get to see how his evil rises, and the flashbacks that we get from the actual Lord of the Rings trilogy movie will probably maybe touch on that a little bit, is my guess.
Yeah, that would be my guess as well. I think this is right now scheduled for 2022, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha. And it's being filmed in New Zealand, which is good. Bring it back to New Zealand. I know they were scouting Scotland. And there would have been some great places to shoot up there, but just keep it New Zealand. That's where they did the original trilogy there. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for this, but I'm ready for it. I mean, it just, like I said, it looks like 2022 we're gonna have two major series. The new Game of Thrones is supposed to be out, and this. So
is this
Battle of Dragons maybe?
Do we know like how many seasons or what the deal is?
We don't know about how many seasons, but this show has already been at least 2, because this show's already been picked up for a second season.
Okay. All right. Well, they got a lot of story to tell, so yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Now, Kevin, a couple weeks ago we had the unfortunate news of Tonya Roberts passing away, and that was a little weird because first it was reported she died, but she hadn't quite yet, but she was in critical condition, and then they reported her death actually the next day. Well, there's another B movie. She is the queen of the B movie. Let's just be clear about this. And for the last couple of years, her death has been reported falsely a couple of times, but Heavy Metal Magazine actually confirmed this time that Julie Strain has passed away.
Julie Strain, yep.
Yep. If you're not familiar with Julie Strain, huge B movie queen, and was married to Kevin Eastman for a good while, and actually
you might want to explain who that is to those that don't know who he is.
Kevin Eastman, the creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Co-creator,
yes.
Yeah.
Julie Strain was a huge presence in Heavy Metal Magazine for several covers. A famous kind of B pinup artist, a model as well, and she did a lot of B films. In fact, was the star of the second Heavy Metal film.
Yep.
If you remember, it was kind of basically created for her.
Heavy Metal 2000 FAKK, if I remember.
Rack or something.
Yeah.
VAC or something like that.
Whatever that meant.
But very much an icon on the convention circuit, and especially for late 80s through the 90s. She was pretty popular. I know she had been suffering from some mental health problems.
It says here
selective amnesia.
Yeah, it says here in the article that Julie suffered from retrograde amnesia. Her teenage life wiped from her memory after suffering head trauma after a fall from a horse in her 20s. And that eventually, injuries to the brain can cause cognitive difficulties later in life, and those caught up to her.
Yeah. So a shame, but I'm glad she's not suffering anymore, so.
Yeah.
But you know what, Kevin? It's time to play everybody's favorite game show around here. And that is the Hollywood Movie Shuffle. It's been a little bit since we played it.
Not fun.
It's been a little bit since we played it, but we have a couple movies that have been moved around yet again. COVID is still a thing. Nobody's quite sure when we're going to officially see the end of it. So Sony has decided, instead of putting it out on streaming or anything. They're moving the movie Morbius the Living Vampire, again with Jared Leto in this film. Well, it was supposed to be out last summer. Of course, this is a Spider-Man tie-in movie. If you remember, you saw Michael Keaton's character from Tom Holland's first Spider-Man film in a trailer for this.
I don't even remember. I don't even remember any of that anymore, dude.
Well,
we got a teaser trailer, and then they took it away from us, and I'm like, it's just, yeah.
Well, they have moved this movie now to October, which is a good fit for this film. This is more of a horror style comic book film anyway. Hopefully we're in theaters by October, Kevin.
Yeah, it's going to be, I don't know. It's just, all movies right now should be working on a deal to release them in your home.
Yeah.
And somehow get some revenue out of this, whether buy the license and show it streaming for a while, and then if you want to release it in the theater for some more revenue, and then on physical media, that's fine. But by the way, Carl says that regarding the how far back the Lord of the Rings is going to start, says the Ents they'll be just saplings, little baby bonsai trees,
just little baby Groots walking around.
Yes.
So. Speaking
real
of
quick,
movies,
are you excited about this Morbius thing?
I'm intrigued by it because of how Sony is trying to develop the Spider-Man universe that's connected to the Spider-Man films, but not really. The whole Sony-Marvel relationship is really weird.
Yeah,
so,
okay,
I'm curious about it. I'm interested to see what they're going to set up. It got my attention more when they showed Michael Keaton in the trailer, because then that showed some legitimate connections to that Spider-Man film.
And he was such a good villain in that first Spider-Man film with Tom Holland. He was really good. The Vulture.
The ultimate uncomfortable car ride with Dad.
Oh, great scene. Great scene. Now go show my daughter a good time, but not too good.
Yeah. But movies, speaking of movies going to streaming, of course, we remember the WB announced that they were moving all their movies for the year 2021 to HBO Max. Well, they hit a little snag with that with Legendary Pictures, because Legendary is like, whoa, wait a minute. We have way more money invested in a couple of our films than you do. You can't be doing this to us. And those two films were Godzilla vs. Kong and Dune. Well, Legendary Pictures and Warner Brothers have reached a settlement for Godzilla vs. Kong. Godzilla vs. Kong will be premiering on HBO Max the same time it hits the theaters. However, it was supposed to debut in May 21st to be exact, but now it has been pushed up 2 months to March 26th. Now, Kevin, I was excited for this movie last year. I had fun with the last Godzilla film, Godzilla King of the Monsters. I thought, I loved seeing the monsters on the screen, everything like that. I thought it was a fun time. Not the greatest
Kong Skull Island too, yeah.
Well, I love that. So I'm really looking forward to this. I would love to be able to see this on a big screen, but it's probably not likely with it coming out in March, especially for multiple reasons, not just COVID. But I am glad that it's going to be on streaming services to see, because I'm excited for this film.
Is there details on this agreement, financial details?
No financial details as of yet.
Okay, because the COVID's changing the way celebrities, movie stars, actors will be attached to movies now. If they can't rely on a theatrical release, that they can negotiate for a point system on the back end that a lot of big movie stars will do to get extra money off that. They were going to have to get paid up front and get promised a certain amount of something that's going to have to be renegotiated in future contracts. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
Well, speaking of which, just real quick on a side note, right before we came on, I actually saw an ad for Netflix. Did you know Leonardo DiCaprio is doing a film for Netflix?
Something came up that he was one. There was a Netflix thing that came up of all these stars that were working for Netflix. And it's interesting because the current contracts I heard for Netflix are that once you get your money to act in it, we own that and we can do whatever we want with it.
Yeah, but I think that could be where it goes. You get paid, and that's it.
And you'll probably be paid handsomely, but you're not going to get any extra back end right deals, or you're not going to get paid for extra this or that when it streams for a certain amount of time. Although that would be interesting, So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to do a quick turn back to the Marvel MCU, specifically the Disney Plus side of things, because a series that I am very excited for, and I know our good buddy Kat Cedar is also very excited for, is Moon Knight. And one of the things that was been going around for a while was that the rumor was Oscar Isaac had been cast for the lead. But much like the Tatiana Maslany news about She-Hulk, it looked like it was a done deal but never confirmed. Oscar Isaac has been officially confirmed as the lead in Moon Knight. They have cast several directors to do episodes of this, so they're going kind of the Mandalorian route here, where they're going to use a bunch of different directors on the series. What I'm actually looking forward to is the news that broke earlier today, maybe about 3 hours ago. They have also cast an actor to play the main villain of this Moon Knight series, and that is Ethan Hawke, Kevin. That's a good get for the MCU.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, he's a great actor. I love his stuff. I mentioned this series, I think last time or on the Fandom show, about GQ has this kind of not an actor studio thing, but they interview famous actors about their most iconic roles. And they're maybe about 20 episodes. And Ethan Hawke is one of them. And he talks about the films that he's been in, including the before movies, or After Sunset, all those, those 3 films that he did over 10, 15 years. And the one called Boy or whatever that took like 10 years to make or whatever. But I'm excited about this. I don't know a lot about the character except from what you and Kat have talked about. But what I find interesting, and it's very smart, that what Disney is doing here is that they are hitting up actors that have been in other productions that they already have a relationship with. Obviously Oscar from Star Wars. And Kyle, I don't know if we can mention it because it hasn't been completely confirmed, but other places are reporting it. Is Mads Mikkelsen, who was in Rogue One, is now rumored to play one of the best villains from the Star Wars universe in live action, as referred to by Ahsoka in Mandalorian, and that is, I'll let you say it.
That would be, where is Thrawn?
Grand Admiral Thrawn, the blue-skinned Imperial that survived the second Death Star explosion in the EU. He was the Imperial that they had to deal with, and the Imperial remnants. And it looks like we're going to get him. And he was one of the many people that was rumored or fans wanted. I know our friend Adam put something up there, but I'd seen a lot of fans say, "Oh, wouldn't he be cool to also play a villain after he played a good guy, so to speak, in Rogue One?" So it's interesting how they're doing this. They have these people under contract for certain other reasons. They're like, "Hey, you want to do this? And this, keep it in the family." So.
Let me ask you about that real quick, because one, I'm much happier with that casting idea than the Robert Downey Jr. one that was going around. I didn't see Robert Downey Jr.
Doctor Strange himself was one that people were heavily thinking about as well.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Because he's under contract.
But let me ask you this: does this mean that maybe there's more CGI aspect to Thrawn, and Mads Mikkelsen might just lend his voice?
I don't know. Mads wouldn't have been my first choice. I actually would have preferred Benedict Cumberbatch, or there's a few others that were thrown out there, but I don't know. It'll be interesting. We'll see.
Yeah. But I want to get back to Ethan Hawke real quick too on Moon Knight, because one of the cool things about this is they haven't said which villain he's going to play. If he's going to play the main Moon Knight villain, though, he's going to play a character by the name of Bushmaster, who was kind of a mercenary with the Moon Knight character, and actually left Mark Spector, the name of the secret identity of Moon Knight, to die, and that's how he ended up becoming Moon Knight. So if that's the case, it's going to be very interesting to see this too. Real quick too, Kevin, speaking on Marvel side, it reminds me, I saw a tweet right before we started from John Barenthal, because there's been a big push to cancel out the Punisher symbol, and this person did a beautiful piece of art of the Punisher with the skull on, and Barenthal says people don't get it. They don't understand what Frank stands for, what that symbol means. We're going to teach them what it means.
Yeah.
So, that kind of wraps up the news, but we're not done yet. We got a lot of stuff going on Culture Clash. Kevin, are you ready? Are you the best around?
I'm the best.
You ready
around.
to sweep the leg?
Yep.
It's time to buy it, stream it, or unsee it. And of course, that means starting with the the sensation that has kicked off the year, Kevin, Cobra Kai Season 3, now on Netflix.
I streamed it on New Year's Day, the whole darn thing.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on doing the whole thing, and every episode was like, I gotta see what's next. I gotta see what's next. And, Kevin, I'm just gonna say it now. Spoiler warnings. Kevin and I are going to get into some spoilers here. If you watched the most recent episode of the Fandom Show on this channel, you know we had to Kevin and I kind of had to hold off because our co-hosts Dan and our special guest Christy had either only been halfway through Season 3 or hadn't even started Season 3 yet, which should be against the law, period. You know, that it should be law required. When a new season of Cobra Kai drops, you must watch it within 48 hours.
Yes.
Just so everybody can talk about it. But you know what, Kevin? They did it again. I think this might have even been the best season of Cobra Kai.
I don't know. For me, the jury's still out on that. That does not diminish anything that is in Season 3 here. I loved it. There are certain moments in Season 1 and in Season 2 that were really, really good. But I love the fact that they didn't drop the ball on a season where you're like, oh, when you talk about like a show, you're like, oh yeah, but that season wasn't that good. And that one, all three of these seasons are strong.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. But this one, I think more than any other season, had the most ties to anything going on with the Karate Kid franchise to this point.
Yes, you got the tie to Karate Kid 2, of course, which was very cool. Even him going over to Japan, which was awesome. And you had Allie Mills make an appearance, played by Elizabeth Shue. She had the best line in the entire Season 3, though. And I like the fact that she kind of brings Daniel and Johnny kind of together and kind of calls them on their crap. And I love the line that she says, look, when it comes to you guys, there's three versions of this story. Yours, and the truth. Love it.
Yeah, no, I loved all the ties to Karate Kid Part 2. They actually did go to Okinawa.
Yes,
I found
they did.
that out. They officially did go to Okinawa. I was surprised how much Karate Kid 3 they put in there, though. Especially
a little bit of that, yeah. I think we're gonna get more of that in the next season too.
Yeah. We gotta talk about Martin Cove real quick, though, Kevin.
Yes,
because he is phenomenal in this season.
Plus, we got a lot of flashback of his character in Vietnam and getting captured by the Viet Cong and having to fight to death with his fellow platoon, and him having to stand up and pretty much kill his commander. And it was intense. And I was kind of wondering where we were going with that. And they were really showing some depth on his character and how, the growth of his character in this season and how harsh he is. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's my leading candidate for Villain of the Year already.
He's good. But the other standout was Tori Nichols, played by Peyton List, the one of the leaders of Cobra Kai and one of the bullies.
Yeah, no, she was phenomenal this season as well. I got to ask you, though, Kevin, do you think we've seen the last of Allie on Cobra Kai? Because I don't think we have.
It's hard to say. I hope not. She brings some levity, which I think is cool. She knows these guys well enough to put them in their place because they're both very prideful and egotistical in their own little ways, and she knows how to call them on it. And so I hope she comes back for that. I love, especially when she's talking with Daniel's wife. I love how they kind of break off and talk and do their thing too. That was kind of cool. Speaking
of which, a great call out. Got to give a good hand to the actress who plays his wife. She was phenomenal this season.
Courtney Hengler. Amanda LaRusso, yes.
Yeah. I thought she was very good this season as well. And, of course, the young actor who plays Miguel is just phenomenal. And come on, Kevin, you were psyched when Dee Snider popped up on your TV.
Yeah, seeing Dee Snider play a little bit of Twisted Sister tunes is great. That was a nice scene. Carl said, I thought Allie's appearance was kind of marginalized. At least I wanted it to be bigger. I agree with you, Carl, but I think what Kyle was saying, I don't think it's the last time that we'll see her, because the fact that she mentioned she's not married anymore and that she'll probably be spending more time out in California. I think we're going to see her again. So hang in there, Carl. It'll happen. But I agree. It was a good moment, but I could have used more of her.
Yeah. One last question on Cobra Kai before we move on, Kevin, because it's a question I've heard on several other podcasts and from a bunch of people. What is it that makes Cobra Kai work?
A perfect blend of character development mixed with the nostalgia and the respect paid to the original material.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, and also an amazing performance from William Zabka.
Yeah, he is good.
Who is finally really starting to get a lot of recognition he's deserved for a very long time.
I think his character is the most entertaining to watch, because he's so, he's not up on all of the current technology, and so he's funny with that. But you see him developing, a little bit and learning more, which is good. Like, I love the fact that he didn't know, he thought his computer was dead and he just realized he had to plug it in and all that kind of stuff. That was fun. So
yeah, some great.
And then he writes that long message to Allie, and and Miguel's like, "No, you don't want to send that." And he just basically replies saying, "What's up?" Okay. Yeah. It's such a guy thing to do. So
exactly. The Kevin Reitzel book of social media.
Sure. Yes.
So, Kevin, I'm Cobra Kai's a buy it. I mean,
agreed. Yeah. I actually bought season 1 and 2 on DVD. There's a little collection of it. You can find it at Target and Walmart. I actually bought it. So
Cobra Kai, I can't bring on season 4. We know it's coming. I can't wait. But Kevin, let's talk about what came out today.
Today, yes, as we speak, Friday, January 15th.
We have our new Filling the Hole of Mandalorian show on Disney Plus, and it is the first entry to.
Careful how you say that there.
Well, yeah, okay. I think you might still actually have the Zoolander.
You want to start that over, buddy?
Filling the gap left by the Mandalorian season ending.
Okay.
Dirty mind over here. The first Marvel show to be, let me put it this way, the first original Marvel series to debut on Disney Plus wasn't supposed to be this show. It was supposed to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but COVID's got everything switched around. But we got our first 2 episodes of WandaVision. The most original thing I think the MCU has ever put out.
And we weren't expecting 2 episodes, maybe 1, because they don't do the whole season drop. So
I was not expecting 2 episodes. Kevin, I think we're going to try to avoid some spoilers here as far as things that happen within the show. But from what I've seen on social media, it's been a mixed reaction to WandaVision. While nobody seems to be really trashing it, I think a lot of people are just like, what did I just watch?
Well, the trailer kind of preps you for what you're expecting. And they're specifically not going to come out and show you a bunch of trailer stuff that's going to give anything away. It's going to make you watch it. And when you watch the first 2 episodes of this, you're wondering what the heck is happening to Wanda and Vision? Why are they stuck in these 1950s/60s TV series and being forced to live through these things, and so I love that when you watch this, especially with the couple of commercials and stuff like that, there's little kind of teases. There's some voices that she's hearing at the end of each episode. It's very interesting. And without too spoilery, because people are still trying to watch it though, in response to what you're saying about the reaction to this, I think it's a knee-jerk reaction. And I really don't think people are they have to finish watching this, then come back and then say what you think. But if you were expecting freaking the Hulk to come in, or any of the other Avengers and go, hey, I'm here, this is my spot, I was not expecting that to happen, and I don't want that to happen. I like what they're doing here. I love having questions, not knowing anything going into it. I'm not a big spoiler guy like a lot of people are. And the people that are probably that do like spoilers are the ones that are probably questioning this right now.
So a couple of things here for me. I give Marvel a lot of credit for taking a bold choice, making this their first show after Endgame. Yes, the original plan was for Falcon Winter Soldier. COVID and everything changed that. They could have sat on this show because this show is supposed to directly tie into the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness film coming out in 2022. Mm-hmm. And this was originally supposed to come out a lot closer to when Doctor Strange was supposed to release. Obviously, schedules get flipped around. First of all, I love the fact this is a mystery. And I think a lot of people who are having the knee-jerk reactions, this is going to be one of those shows that after the last episode airs, and this is a 9-episode series, you're going to want to go back and rewatch this thing because I think there's going to be a lot of things you missed in the first viewing, and this is one of the shows that actually would benefit from the whole thing probably being put out at once.
Understood, but I'm glad they're not. It gives us something to talk about, podcast about too,
Yeah, yeah.
But the thing that I really enjoyed about this, two big things, is I love the throwback to these 1950s, 60s TV series, especially the fact that the first couple are shot in black and white on the square screen, not the widescreen, and I, growing up, born in 70 myself, these shows were on rerun and repeat. I didn't see them live when they first aired. And a lot of these TV series like aired live too, and I love the throwback to those, Ozzie and Harriet's, Beaver and, all these, old television series and the look and the costumes and everything. But the best thing I liked about this is seeing both Elizabeth Olsen, Wanda, and Vision, Paul Bettany act outside of their normal superhero characters, be funny. I totally enjoyed that. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
I want to go back and rewatch these for those. And I also want to watch all these little things that they're teasing as well.
Yeah. Oh no, Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen knocked this out of the park. Catherine Hahn was also great as the neighbor Agnes. She was a lot of fun.
Jennifer said MCU meets Nick at Night. I love it.
Yeah, it's gotta have that feel to it. It really does. Kevin, I do want to bring up one point, and this is just a personal theory I have. Obviously, Paul Bettany is in this playing the Vision, but we all know what happened to the Vision in Infinity War.
Yes.
Are we sure that this is really the Vision, or not some kind of made-up thing in Wanda's head?
No idea whatsoever. I do have a wish, though. Even though he was killed in Avengers Infinity War, I really like the chemistry between these two characters. Wanda and
very, very.
And I hope they find a way to bring him back and be alive so they can be a couple again. I absolutely adore them. And I hope they find a way to do that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where this is going to go. I think it's got a lot of interesting twists ahead. It's 9 episodes, so we got 7 left. Bring it on. I'm ready for it. And as soon as shortly after this is over, Falcon Winter Soldier hits, and right after Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki Season 1 comes out. So we're in for a nice, good run of Marvel product on Disney+. So I'm excited. Bring it on, and hopefully we get Black Widow in May like we're supposed to. But, Kevin, if I were a betting man, I have a theory that your lovely fiance might have helped influence you watching this next show that you put on the list.
It's funny. That's a good bet to take. But actually, when I saw this trailer for this Netflix documentary, I was going to watch it no matter what. And the documentary that I'm talking about, it's on Netflix. It's new. It's called Night Stalker: The Hunt for a Serial Killer. Growing up in Southern California, Richard Ramirez terrorized millions and millions of people when he went on his murder spree in the summer, fall, whatever, through 1985 Southern California. He had started doing his horrible stuff before that, but he started going on a spree, and we were inundated nightly on our news shows. All of the pictures of what the artist rendition of what this killer looked like. All the new stuff was all over our newspapers, even up here in Santa Barbara, 100 miles north of LA. And this documentary does a great job of the timeline of when the police started realizing they have a serial killer and the clues that were coming about. And Dianne Feinstein going on national television with some information that she got, and the police weren't ready for her to release this information because she felt that they felt that this might spook Richard Ramirez and he might back off and they couldn't find him. And the brutality that he did these murders with and the different people that he brutalized and killed. Fascinating series. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've been following it on social media. Something I hope I can check out here soon. But you also finished up something you've been watching because of your love of The Boys.
Yes, definitely. Real quick, I just want to shout out Jennifer. She says, I lived in San Gabriel Valley during this reign of terror, and we were scared. Well, she uses a bad word. During this, sleepovers were basically panicked 15-year-old girls. Yeah, it was a tough time. Trust me. We were this guy scared the crap. And this was, real quick, back to this. This was the first real serial killer that us 80s kids experienced firsthand with all the news and everything, Yeah. The 70s had Bundy, and he kind of came in a little bit in the 80s, but had all these other serial killers. This was the one that scared us the most. So anyway, but yeah, so everyone out there in YouTube land, everyone that's listening, do we like The Boys? About the superheroes being bad secretly and these vigilantes that are trying to bring them to justice. Good show, right? Right, Kyle?
Yeah, very good show.
Yeah. We want to see Boys season 3, and we like it because it's funny, it's violent, it's it's a big what if. But let me tell you right now, what's that?
That poor whale.
Yes, the poor whale. One of the lead stars of the show The Boys is Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander. Homelander is basically Superman who's evil, but to the normal public, he's Superman-ish. He's got Superman powers. He's probably the most powerful superhero, or the Supes as they refer to. So people don't know how to kill him or trap him or whatever. And he plays a horrible, horrible person, but on the outside he's supposed to be this great superhero, but he's corrupt and he's killed lots of people behind the scenes. If you like Anthony Starr, please go check out Banshee. Ran from 4 seasons from 2013 through 2016, and he is the star of this, and this was the series that really kind of brought him into people's minds before The Boys. The Boys have kind of just exploded, but this is about, he plays this guy who was this master thief, con man, went to jail for 15 years, comes back to a small town in Banshee, Pennsylvania, and he just happens to come across a situation where a local sheriff who's about to report for duty in Banshee gets killed, and he takes his identity and becomes the sheriff of Banshee with his help of his con people friends that help him keep his identity. And he has to deal with the local drug lord slash mafioso, as well as outside influences of other very horrible people. There's a lot of violence, a lot of action, a lot of intrigue, and it is one of the most fun shows I have watched over the last 10 years. And what I love about Anthony Starr in this is that he is so good in this. He's better than he is in The Boys. And when he fights people, like, we're not talking like John Wick judo kung fu fighting. It is bare knuckle brawl fighting when he's not shooting people, and it gets brutal. It's awesome. Great character developments. They're not afraid to kill people off, which is cool too. And highly recommend it. Please check it out.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I've seen the first 2 seasons.
I'm going to be purchasing this series. It's
a buy it for Kevin, for sure.
It's a buy it for me.
He's right.
Kyle, you need to watch this show.
I've watched the first 2 seasons. I need to finish the...
Okay, so it's a Cinemax original. If you have any of the pay channels and stuff, it's on demand with that.
I think it's on HBO Max now, too.
Probably, maybe. But make sure you check it out. Banshee. Excellent show. And what I like about it is that when they went into this 4th season, they knew it was going to be its last, and they tied it up really well with the possibility, maybe, future stuff. We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how it plays out. But you know what? Kevin and I are going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with something fun. We got a new segment that we're going to
We do.
dive
Fun
into.
segment.
So, but first, here's what else is going on around the Fandom Podcast Network.
Thank you for listening. We hope you're enjoying this podcast. We like to continue to feed your ears by inviting you to listen to the Fandom Podcast Network and all of the other awesome shows we have to offer. It starts with our flagship show, Culture Clash, our weekly pop culture news podcast. Bloody Kings, our Highlander podcast. Couch Potato Theater, our podcast celebrating our favorite movies. Time Warp, the Fandom Flashback podcast discussing a year in movies and our favorite pop culture topics. End Zone, the NFL podcast. Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast. Union Federation, our Star Trek and Orville podcast. Hair Metal, the 80s and early 90s rock metal podcast. Type 40, our Doctor Who podcast. Lethal Mullet, a 1980s and 90s action film podcast. What a Piece of Junk, a Star Wars podcast. And our newest show, Making Treks, a new Star Trek podcast with a deep dive into the final frontier with host Mark Newbold and Adam P. O'Brien. You can enjoy all of these great Fandom Podcast Network shows on our master feed at fpnet.podbean.com. Fandom Podcast Network is also on Apple Podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. You can also find us on Facebook under Fandom Podcast Network. You can also email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter under Fandom Podcast Network. Thank you for listening, and remember, respect others and enjoy your fandom.
And we're back, and I'm excited, Kevin. We got a brand new segment here for Culture Clash. We're trying to get some fresh things, some fresh ideas going for 2021, and I'm really excited about this segment, Kevin.
Yeah, man, this was fun to dive into, and we're looking forward to doing this more than once.
Yeah. So what we are doing, as we like to affectionately call it, is the VHS double header and double feature. And come on, we all used our VHSs, and we recorded 2 movies on it. Unless, you usually had short play, 2 hours, long play, 4 hours. And if you really wanted to test it, extra long play, which depending on the tape,
extended
is holding up there, 6 to 8 hours.
Well, the first ones were the 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. And then they started releasing the up to 8-hour ones here, like the one I'm holding in my hand. And, when you started watching movies on videotape and you started recording stuff, you started realizing that if you had a lot of movies on one tape, the quality wasn't quite as good. So you had to kind of pick and choose, like, which ones are your favorite movies? Some movies were so good, you would just put them on one tape so you could have the best quality. And then, then there was just kind of fun movies. You didn't really care too much about the quality and you put as much as you could on there. So, yeah.
But I think I think looking back, I think for most people the standard was 2 movies per tape.
Yes, that 2 and 3 I think was the average. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thought was let's take a little time travel trip back to the 80s, back when VCRs were prominent.
80s and 90s, early 90s. Yeah.
Early 90s, yes. And let's talk about what our favorite VHS double features might be. Now, some of these that we're going to bring up as we do this segment will be ones that we actually did in real life, and some of them are what would be good matchups. Maybe they seem a little odd when you first put them together, and then you realize, oh wait, I understand why these two match up together. But we do have a rule or two for this segment, Kevin.
Yeah, it's funny too because one of my favorite double features is disqualified for this segment, and because we wanted people to be kind of creative about this. It's easy to put part 1 of a movie and part 2 its sequel, but we said the only rule is no sequels, so we didn't want to have you say Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Temple of Doom. We wanted you to kind of be creative, and also if you happen to have remembered the ones that you did record, why you put them together, or why would you put them together on a tape. Basically going to a drive-in and seeing a really fun double feature, you would kind of see that. And the one double feature that I did that's disqualified that I would love to relive and do again was recommended by a friend of mine, was taking the original Alien movie and Aliens. And if you remember, the original Alien movie ends with a Nostromo like floating through space, and then the credits start to roll. If you pause it there and then start Aliens right after the main credits drop, you get this seamless transition, and you get like a 4.5 hour Alien movie, which is great.
Yeah. Now, there is a caveat to this. You can choose a sequel film, but you can't put it with the movie that it's sequeling up. So, like, for instance, I want to give an example. If you wanted to go with the two films that brought on PG-13, which would be Temple of Doom and Gremlins. Those are the two movies that a lot of people say, those are the movies that finally pushed it over the top to create PG-13.
Red Dawn did that too.
Yeah, Red Dawn as well. So that would be okay if you wanted to include a sequel. You can include it with a totally different
I didn't make
film.
that caveat in my social media post. I just said no sequels.
Yeah, but it's fine because it's the first time of for the segment. But yeah, so if you wanted to put, you know, like, oh, I have Ghostbusters 2 with let's see, The Stuff or something like that, you know. But the point is oddball matchups, but you find some way that kind of links them, why you would have them on the same VHS tape.
On the post social media that I did, I said, let's revisit the 80s and 90s with your VHS home video collection on our new podcast segment, VHS Double Feature. Give us 2 movies you would have put on a VHS tape recorded on LP long play speed. That's the one that usually gets you 2 movies with decent what you call it,
Quality.
I guess quality, yes. But the one rule that we say is no sequels. So which 2 movies would make a great VHS double header? So what Kyla and I are going to do is we're going to show you our double feature, and then we're going to be reading the comments on the Facebook post that I put on Facebook.
Yes, and I think this is going to be fun. This is going to something we're going to try to do about once a month here on the Culture Clash. Just kind of mix it up a little bit, but the first one I am doing is actually one that it was a tape I legitimately had.
You've told me about this, so yeah.
I put on 2 classic 1982 films. One very close to Kevin and I's heart, and that is Megaforce.
Yes, right here. I'm holding it up. The actual VHS hard shell. This is probably the rental edition, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, and what's funny too is this one is from Mega Movies, because sometimes they put the stickers on the tape of where it came from. Mega Movies in British Columbia, Canada. There you go, Tom. Yep. And I love this here. It says, to correct distorted or rolling picture, adjust horizontal or vertical hold on TV.
Yeah, there we go. But the second film, another 1982 classic that, if I am guessing at the time of this recording, Kevin has still not seen.
I had not seen this film for quite a long time.
And that is the classic Mark Singer film, The Beastmaster. Now, Kevin, there's not really anything like linking these 2 films other than the fact that they're both in 1982. They are both considered cult classics. And it's a nice mix of, you got some modern day military sci-fi warfare and back in the day fantasy 80s classic romp. So
there's
I think it's a good balance of 80s.
I think there's another reason why these are that Megaforce and Beastmaster are perfect for a VHS doubleheader, especially in your case. In my case, I didn't have access to HBO and these pay channels. I had friends that did, but we didn't have it. We couldn't afford it as a family. But this was one of those that I remember hearing, and from you, that these were on constant rotation on HBO or Cinemax later on.
Yeah, especially HBO. HBO was big for these 2.
Yeah.
So I it just kind of fell that way, where you've got these 2 films together on a VHS tape.
So question, whatever happened to that tape of yours?
Most of those tapes, when I moved here from Alaska, just didn't make the trip because of shipping. And the truth of the matter was, a lot of them by then had really started to degrade.
I still have one that included a sequel in my possession, and that is the two Ewok films. I actually have them on the VHS I originally recorded them on.
Little side note here, Kevin. Did you have a particular brand of VHS tape you preferred?
I kind of went with Sony or TDK.
TDK was the big one for my family.
Those were the ones, and then you got like the cheaper like Dynex versions, like the one I have here in my hand. But if you wanted to go, or Maxell, remember Maxell, because they did audio and mostly started with audio tapes. But Sony was the best one in TDK. Yeah.
TDK was big
I became an expert at VHS surgery and repair, taking them apart, fixing tapes, doing stuff like that, popping out that tab so you couldn't accidentally record over something, or putting a tape back over it in case you did want to record over a protected tape, all that type of stuff. So yeah.
One of the other big brands for me was Memorex.
Memorex.
The thing I remember about Memorex was they came in hard shell clam cases.
Yes, this is true. Yeah.
So, but that is my VHS double feature, Kevin. What have you got for a VHS double feature?
Real quick, Carl Nordstrom said Red Dawn was the first PG-13 movie. Remember how much of a big deal it was? Carl, I remember that. Yeah. That was huge, and I remember going to the Granada Theater here in Santa Barbara, California, seeing it on opening weekend, and there was only a bunch of other fellow like teenage boys, and I remember one of them farted really loud, and everyone laughed.
I still remember an article in one of the major news magazines at the time that talked about the PG-13 rating, and they kept going back to the scene where the heart comes out in Temple of Doom.
Yeah,
was like, that was the scene that solidified. Yeah, we need this rating.
yeah. So, it's funny. I could have gone when I was trying to think back of all the double features I had. There's a few that came up, but there was one specifically, and I'm going to go with comedies. And because of some friends of ours on social media that responded to this thread reminded me of this and reminded me of this actual double feature that I had on VHS. And I'm going to hold up the DVDs because I have them in DVD now. And that is John Cusack in Better Off Dead. All right. That came out in 1985, if I remember correctly. And then the year later, he did One Crazy Summer. Now, this is the perfect double feature. A lot of people know Better Off Dead, but not everyone knows about One Crazy Summer, which stars John Cusack and Demi Moore, by the way. Demi Moore, this came out before About Last Night, okay, before she kind of started becoming a movie star. What's funny about these films is that they're pretty much the same main character, just different names. Curtis Armstrong is in both of them as well as the friend. But what's funny is that this film, One Crazy Summer, that came out after Better Off Dead, is sometimes called Better Off Dead Goes to the Beach. Because it shares the same star, John Cusack, the same director, Savage Steve Holland, and they're both about an aspiring cartoonist and Laura Waterbury, who plays the French exchange student in Better Off Dead. She also has a cameo in One Crazy Summer, and of course, Curtis Armstrong is in both. And they're both fun. They're both silly. A lot of hijinks going on. Bobcat Goldthwait's in the second one. He's Bobcat Goldthwait before he got too Bobcat Goldthwaity. And they're fun comedies. And like I said, and I think I'll bring it up later, but I think Lee, my co-host of Blighted Kings, mentioned that Curtis Armstrong said that One Crazy Summer was supposed to be a legitimate sequel to Better Off Dead, but production companies stuff changed and they decided not to do that. So technically, this doesn't break the rule. So there you go.
So, well, Kevin, you put this out on social media as well, and I know you got some interesting responses.
By the way, Carl says Stork Twins. Yep, reference to One Crazy Summer. Thank you very much for knowing that, Carl. Yeah, so we got some great responses. And Nathaniel starts off with you. He says, comedy double feature, Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Taking Care of Business, a.k.a. Filofax. That is the 1990 comedy starring Jim Belushi and Charles Grodin. I think I saw that once. I don't remember all the details, but that does sound like a cool combo, actually. Then he goes, and I had to ask him about this, Kyle, and I want to hit you up on this. He says, sci-fi double feature, The Last Starfighter and the UPN movie Star Command, which I don't think ever got a release on video because I tried searching for it.
Yeah,
and
I remember that movie.
You do?
It was one of when UPN first started, the channel UPN first started up. It was one of their big things, and they were trying to make a push. They made a movie hoping to get a series out of it.
Apparently, it was called In the Fold as well. Yeah. And it was very interesting. I've never seen it. I don't remember.
Kelly Hu was in this film.
Who?
Kelly Hu was in this film.
Kelly Hu was in this. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. I guess it's a film, of course, Nathaniel really, really liked. But this starred Jay Underwood, Jennifer Bransford. But they put Morgan Fairchild on the cover because they felt it might sell better or get more attention. But she was like barely in it, I think. So
yeah.
Next, we got my buddy Brad. He says Ghostbusters and Predator. And I said, I said, which one would you put first? He says, flip a coin.
Yeah. I have later on in this segment. I have a Ghostbusters combo for you.
Okay, good.
That I actually have. So
Colleen Best, she says Tango and Cash and Tequila Sunrise. It's a double dose of Kurt Russell action films and some romance tossed in. And I love this one. Thank you so much, Colleen, for giving some love to Brandon Lee here. Showdown in Little Tokyo and Rapid Fire. Couple of my favorite films. Love those. Great double feature there. Love that. Also, Dan Lee says Night of the Creeps followed by Wes Craven's Shocker. I remember Shocker. I like Shocker. I've not seen Night of the Creeps. Have you, Kyle?
I have not seen Night of the Creeps, but I can tell you about Shocker. I'm a fan of it, but I watched it here recently, and I had forgotten actually that Peter Berg was the lead in it. But man, did those effects not hold up well. Mitch Pileggi as the villain in Shocker too.
Yeah, okay. Night of the Creeps, by the way, stars Jason Lively, Tom Atkins. Alien brain parasites enter humans through the mouth and run their host to killing zombie. Okay, so yeah, it's that actually sounds like fun. I gotta check that out. Okay, then on we go to, let's see what else he's got here. Adam O'Brien says Enter the Ninja and Battle Creek Brawl, aka The Big Brawl. If I remember correctly, that was a Jackie Chan film.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Definitely. Sho Kosugi, of course, jumps in on there. Dan says he loves Ninja 3: The Domination. Jennifer, here she goes. Johnny Dangerously and Top Secret. Awesome combo. Well done. Love that, man. Those are so funny. And Jennifer, I love Johnny Dangerously too. Well, that's a good combo. I love it. She also says Revenge of the Nerds and Real Genius. Got the little nerd thing going on there. Love that. Because technically in Real Genius, there's a Revenge of the Nerds in that, which is great.
Yeah, exactly.
And she says Lethal Weapon and Demolition Man. I love it. She also says, I fargin love Johnny Dangerously. Lacey Adderhold says, like father, like son, and vice versa. Those
similar plot, but you know,
yeah. Which one was like father, like son?
That was the one with Fred Savage. Yeah, Fred Savage.
No, I thought
Judge Reinhold.
I thought that was vice versa.
Oh, well, no, wait. Like father, like son might have been Kirk Cameron and Dudley Moore.
Thank you. There you go. Stevie McLeod says Excalibur and Times Square. And I had never heard of this film, Kyle. And I'm like, Times Square, what's that? It came out in 1980, and it's about teenage girls who form a punk band and soon have New York City by its ears. Tim Curry's in it, by the way.
There you go.
What else we got here? Blair Hiscock says The Terminator and First Blood. That is a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Hey, Carl, back at you here, brother. Here we go. We got, he says Fright Night and Lost Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. This one surprised me. Johnny K, our buddy Johnny K says the Burbs in Cuffs. But what's funny is when I meant to say Cuffs makes an appearance, woot, I didn't check my spelling and Cuffs spelled something else.
Oh.
And Johnny was kind enough to do a little Photoshop with my mess up. Our friend Polly said, I thought this was a great suggestion, Kyle. I often enjoyed American Graffiti back to back with Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, that's a good combo.
And then he also said Kindergarten Cop and Twins. That's also good too. I loved the suggestion of Graffiti and Dazed because it hits that nostalgia chord. So I thought that was really cool. Our friend Murph over there at Raider Fans Radio, he says, one I remember having was Weekend at Bernie's and The Golden Child, Eddie Murphy.
I will always be a fan of The Golden Child. Brother Nubsy!
My buddy Bob says Smoking the Bandit and Blues Brothers. That's just like a bunch of car chasing there. I made the suggestion of Smoking the Bandit and Cannonball Run. Those would be good. Norman, he did a lot of stuff here. One of them I didn't quite get right away, but this one is awesome. Conan the Barbarian and Red Sonja. Okay. Yep. He also said Escape from New York and The Thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What else he said here? And then he said Crawl and Beastmaster. This is where he said he was hitting 1,000. And he says these were my actual combos when I was copying VHS to VHS and EP mode. And then he said more to come. This one I did not get the tie to, but you did, Kyle. This was Major League and the Secret of My Success. And the reason why I didn't get it is because I watch Major League every year, but I haven't seen the Secret of My Success. I've seen that movie maybe 3 or 4 times total.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yes, it's a great film, but I said interesting choice. He's like, bruh, you don't see the connection. And you said a certain owner and CEO wife. Where was she in Secret of My Success?
She was Aunt Vera in Secret of My Success.
Oh, okay.
The whole scene where she's in the back of the limo and then seduces Michael J. Fox. Then they find out she's his aunt by marriage.
Otherwise known as she is also the owner of the Cleveland Indians, and she's the mean owner and wants to sell the team. Gotcha.
Yeah.
My buddy Rick says Better Off Dead, just one of the guys. Great combination there. Another one that he said, and I want to say I may have done this one too, or at least it's part of a trilogy that I did. Secret Admirer and Can't Buy Me Love. A couple of my favorite comedies from the 80s. Love those movies. And then let's see here. And this is where we get into the discussion of Better Off Dead and One Crazy Summer, and Lee jumped in there as well. We also have my buddy Carlos says there's a lot that could be done with it, but I'll throw this into the mix. Escape from New York and Big Trouble in Little China. That is a good combination.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Good. Love that one too. Lee said, this is interesting, Lee, my co-host of Bloody King, said Stand By Me and The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, that's a good interesting combo.
Yeah. Scott said The Last Starfighter and Explorers.
Yeah, that's a good combo.
What about Explorers and E.T.?
I think I like it better with The Last Starfighter.
Yeah, I could see that. Yep, there we go. Norman comes back and says, here's one. I did this on beta, and it was the first double feature I ever taped off the movie channel. Excalibur and Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
There you go. I actually have one for you, Kevin, that I remember my parents had.
Yes.
The movie Stir Crazy with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
And the original 48 Hours.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I was always a fan of Silver Streak too, but no, that's a good one. I like that. Brian Hanley said, and I love this, he called it Best in Class of 1986. And this is one I would have done. Highlander and Aliens.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Lacey, here she goes. She's just killing it with the theme pairing here, and I love it. She says Teen Witch and Teen Wolf.
There you go.
Goonies and Explorers.
Yep.
Thought that was really good. Let's see what else we got. Any more here? Buddy Steve Amito says Slapshot in Major League. That's good.
That's a good
I like
one.
that. And Rick said totally missed the rerun and Revenge of the Ninja. Uh, and my lovely fiance, last and
Here we
certainly
go.
not least, she put in a few here. First of all, when I asked her, I called her before we started this. Showgirls, and I'm holding up the Blu-ray right now. And you want to guess what the other one is? Two Moon Junction, baby. Did you ever see?
That's a special night for Kevin and Aaron.
But she's not done. She says, and I have the actual VHS here. Tough Turf with James Spader, great film by the way, and Pretty in Pink. And here's another one. Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Grease 2. She's not done yet. Halloween, John Carpenter's The Thing. St. Elmo's Fire, About Last Night, which I actually have DVD with also Perfect. This is another good one. The Sure Thing and Risky Business. Oh, great one. Awesome one. The Outsiders and Point Break.
Interesting.
This one's good too. With the horror film. The Evil Dead and Reanimator. Oh, that's a good one right there.
Yeah.
And An American Werewolf in London and Fright Night. And she said she could go on forever.
I'm sure she could.
Well done, gorgeous. Love it, love it, love it.
Now, I want to throw this out to people, too. Did you have a movie you recorded and you put the tape aside specifically waiting for the perfect movie to match with that film?
You know, it's funny you say that. I had several tapes that had a movie that I would record, and I'd want to put a double feature on it, but I would have to be careful and see if it fits or not. I can't remember what the movie was, but if it was a comedy, it would have to be another comedy. If it was an action, it had to me, my genres had to be kind of together and coincide and show some cohesiveness.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly on that.
You okay there, buddy? I'm not putting you to sleep, am I?
No, I've been moving furniture all day, so it's catching up with me a little bit. But you know what? This is going to be a fun segment. I think we're going to have some fun pairings as we go along with this.
We're going to do this again, and we're going to kind of mix some other fun stuff as well. But, VHS was king back in the day, and I just want to tell people out there there's a great documentary. I think it's on Amazon called Rewind This, and I've mentioned this before. This gives a great history of how VHS changed the movie industry and how theater companies and movie production companies were deathly afraid of people not ever going to the theaters again. But then they realized, wait a minute, we can release into the theater, get a bunch of the money from the theatrical run, and then release it on an affordable VHS tape later on where we can sell millions of copies and make more revenue. And you get interviews with these great VHS collectors that are diehard. They got these VHS tattoos, and it's really, really cool. And they talk to a lot of VHS B-movie actors and actresses, including Elvira, because Elvira said that VHS changed her status and everything. So check it out. It's called Rewind This.
Yes, very, very cool documentary. But with that, Kevin's got to go record some shows. You got to check his timer, make sure it's going to work properly.
I tell you right now, Kyle, there was a fine science to recording stuff,
Oh, yeah. There was a method to the madness.
And I want to just say this. I may have mentioned this before a while ago, but I used to go to this video store here in Santa Barbara called Video Schmidio. Great locally owned video store. And they had this contest every year regarding guessing right on the Academy Awards, and whoever submitted it was all the awards, whatever, 24, 25, whatever awards, whoever guessed the most would win a free rental every day for the entire year. I tied with someone else. So instead of giving us both a free rental for the entire year, they let us do it for 6 months. So 6 months, I was renting something every single day. It gave me a chance to try new movies. But I had this video player that I got at a college sale. And it was those video players that you would see that would come in on that rolling cart when the teacher wanted to show a movie or something. But what was cool about that video player is it didn't record, it would only play. But it got around that electronic protection that was put on videotapes to where you couldn't record it or copy it. And I set that up to a regular VCR. And so I was like renting new movies and putting them on tape and letting my friends borrow them. It was great.
Yeah.
Did that, had that thing for like 10 years.
Yeah. All I remember is that the first VCR that was ever in our household almost ended to the death of my sister and my dad. Death by my mom.
Did I just confess to piracy, Kyle?
Me, Kevin, and you did it on video, no less.
I know, right? Let's record over it. Can we record over it?
Unfortunately, I already broke the tab and I'm all out of Scotch tape.
Darn it!
That was
a lot of fun. Great topic, Kyle. Looking forward to revisiting it.
Yeah, absolutely. With that, though, we're going to get out of here. We're almost at 90 minutes.
Thanks, everyone in YouTube land. Appreciate you.
Yep, thanks everybody in the chat. Hopefully those of you who come back and visit to watch the rest of the show or watch the show for the first time, enjoy it. It's the new year. Hopefully new opportunities, some new stuff in fandom, and hopefully we get a lot of new things this year to check out. But as always, as we say around here, respect each other. As the prophets say, be excellent to each other. And of course, enjoy your fandom. And with that, we are out of here.